Welcome to the Leverage Show. Today I want to share with you 3 simple online tools that you can use to get super organized, super efficient, and to stay that way. You know, one of the biggest challenges that we have in today's business world, whether your business is offline or online, is staying organized and getting things done. We're constantly bombarded by sensory inputs and by different sorts of distractions coming at us all day, every day. And it is different than any other time in history. Sure, there was always a need to remain focused and effective and efficient and all that other stuff in order to be productive. However, we never had nearly as much of the stuff coming at us that we do nowadays. So with all the whole online universe, I mean, if you have social media accounts, email, that in and of itself is overwhelming. And that doesn't even count any of the other stuff that you have going on. If you have employees, other people that are, looking to you for help or advice, if you belong to any particular groups or associations, and any other draws on your time, including family. You know, the expectations nowadays are that, we could be supermen and superwomen. Not only are we going to run a business, but we're also going to do everything with our family, and we're going to have friends, and we're going to have a social life, and we're going to be able to do this and manage that. And it becomes totally overwhelming. Now, as someone who is inherently disorganized, this is a topic that's really close to my heart. And it's something that I've struggled with for a long time. I can tell you from way back in the days of corporate America, I used to carry around one of those ridiculous planner things, and I never used it. I had all, there was this 88-page instruction booklet for how to go through it and how to catalog different things. And what I've found, and this is the problem that I've found with almost every organizational tool that I've ever tried, is that they require too much of a learning curve. They were never intuitive. There was so much structure and things to remember to even use it that it just became too much work. And so I always just sort of never bothered using it. I'd try it for a couple days and then it just became too much work. And then I was like, okay, that's enough of that. And I believe the main reason it was too much work is because none of the stuff that I had worked the way that I worked. It didn't work the way that I think. And so what I'd find is that I was transferring tasks from one day to the next. I was never completing anything on time, and it really just wasn't working for me. And so when I got into the online world and clearly had my own business, I knew that there was a much different demand on my time and that I needed to find a way to get a lot more efficient than what I was currently doing. And again, in the online world, it was the same broken record. I've tried every productivity program out there, project management software, task management software, every single thing you can imagine, I've tried it. Customer resource management, all this kind of stuff. I've used several systems. Some are good, some aren't, whatever. But all of them I've found require just too much work. So what I decided to do was I really sort of simplified. And I said, you know what? I want something that's just going to keep me on track, both short-term and long-term. That's all I want. So I need something that's going to track my schedule, because sometimes I do have appointments. I have physical things that I need to do or be at a certain place at a certain time. That's important. I have tasks that need to be prioritized and get completed by a certain date. So that's important as well. And then I also have some things that are more project or idea oriented, where it's something that I definitely don't want to forget about, but it's sort of down the road. And so the problem is, if you're using project management software, it isn't good enough because it doesn't tackle the here and now. You have a bunch of these big projects, but there's nothing that really covers that. If you use a task management software, the problem with that is that you find that anything that's longer term than just today, or sort of in the next couple of days, just simple tasks, it doesn't really work either. And so what I decided to do was I found 3 different software programs that I use. They're all cloud-based online, which is a must for me, because I don't like stuff I have to download and put on my computer, for the simple reason that every time you go to upgrade, you need to de-license it, take the license off, uninstall it, install it in the new one, you're constantly downloading new versions, then they want to sell you the upgrades, forget all that. I'm using 3 cloud-based applications that are very simple. They only take me a couple minutes a day, and I'm able to manage and organize every single thing that I need. And so the first is Todoist, Todoist. That is a task management software, but I'm going to share with you how I use it, because this is really important. I started using it, and I was doing the same thing I had always done. I liked the interface. It was really simple and easy to use, but what I found was I had a bunch of stuff in there that just kept getting put in the like delayed and overdue box. So every day I had to scroll all the way down to even find what my current tasks were, because I had 250 things that were overdue. But some of them weren't really overdue. It isn't that I wasn't getting it done. It's that they were project-based, or I was waiting on some other piece of information, or it was an idea I wanted to check out, but I didn't really have a deadline for when I wanted to do it. So it was getting too cluttered. And my first rule of thumb, and the first realization I came to, is if your task management thing, the thing you're using for daily organization of getting stuff done today, is cluttered, you're dead. Because you're not going to get the important things done. It's too overwhelming to even look at it. You've got to keep whatever you're using for tasks, whether it's that software or something else, keep it very streamlined, very lean, and only have the stuff on there that you're going to act on today. Obviously, appointments too. So, I mean, I put in my doctor's appointment for next week. I schedule that. But I'm saying everything in there has to be a task that has a simple, execution, and when it's done, you tick it off. If it's project-based, if it's, something that's going to need decisions and investigations, I don't put it on those lists at all. So that keeps me very streamlined and focused in my day-to-day. The second tool that I use is for processes. And the processes, I use Lucidchart, Lucid chart.com. Same thing, it's cloud-based. There have been a ton of these different mind mapping software. I only use this to chart my processes, and here's how I do it. When I have a process, like for example, launching a new product, I do this over and over again. It's foolish for me to start over from scratch every single time and try to remember all the steps. There's 150 steps that are involved. And I've done this before and thought I would do it by memory, and then I forgot this or I forgot that. And then I end up finding out that, it didn't go as well or something because I had forgotten a couple of steps along the way. So what I did was I created a process map, and here's my rule for this. Start a process map for every process you're doing, even if you don't have the process totally figured out. Because here's the key. When you get it written down and you get it put down, and you don't need to make beautiful ones. Mine are all simple black and white text and shapes. That's it. And when you start to create this, you'll start to crystallize your thinking. But more importantly, when you start doing the project again, or the process rather again, what you'll find is, oh yeah, and now this needs to go in here, and that, and then I flip right back over the process map or the process flow chart, and I add those things in. So mine are living, breathing documents. I'm not creating it once and then putting it, somewhere in the cyber files and never looking at it again. I'm doing it in a way that I'm going to be able to continue to use that and go back to it and edit it. So I keep optimizing it. So I make all my processes perfect. So I do this even with processes I'm just starting out. So even if I'm not sure what the full process is going to be yet, I start to lay it out. And that way I have this document that when I start to do the process and I start to decide the steps, I can go in there and I can add those in. And when I see things that are wrong or in the wrong order or things I don't like, I can remove them. But this way I'm creating a master process for everything that I do that's multi-step, but still not really necessarily a project base with deadlines. This just shows me the flow of all the things that need to happen. Once you have that down visually, it's very easy to translate that into tasks. So that's the second tool I use. And then the third tool that I use is Trello, Trello. And Trello is basically like a visual project board. And what this allows you to do is create boards for each project or whatever, longer term thing that you're working on. What's great about Trello is that you have a lot of flexibility with the stuff you can add. You can add files and attachments. You can add due dates. You can do a lot of the other things. You can also invite other people to jump in, and you can comment back and forth. So you can use it as sort of a project management tool. But what I like about it that I didn't like about other project management stuff is I like the fact that it's visual. So it gives you sort of an at-a-glance look. You can use a calendar view. You can use a project view. But the way that I use this is I put all of the things that I'm working on or ideas on there. And I prioritize them in terms of things that need to get done and things that are just ideas. Because then it's not cluttering my task list. I don't have a bunch of stuff that's just going to distract me from getting done what I need to get done. Then each day I can go in there and see, all right, I have a deadline for this particular project, and I know that I'm at this phase, so I can go to my process chart if I need to and see what steps need to be completed. If I already know them, and that's more of just a reference tool, I can go to my tasks and I can add in the tasks that need to be completed for the following day to make sure that I stay on track. And so, it sounds like a lot to try to use 3 tools, but I haven't found one that actually works. And when you use all 3 of those together, it seems to cover all of the most important bases that you need. You can collaborate with other people. You can do, time sensitive and time bound activities like projects. You can visually lay out different steps in projects. You can create, project plans, and yet at the same time, you can get your tactical to-do list type stuff done as well. And so I found those 3 tools to be sort of a magical combination. And what's really great also is not only are they cloud-based, none of them are particularly expensive. They're either free or they're really cheap. It won't cost you a lot of money to do it. And if you spend a little bit of time getting to know how they work, I think you'll find that it makes a huge boost in not only your productivity, but in your peace of mind of knowing that you've got this organizational structure that actually works. And it's very scalable and duplicatable. So no matter how many projects or what industry, it will work in any industry for any number of projects, any number of tasks. You can put in repeating tasks in the Todoist, and then you can create project templates in Trello and then continue to reuse those. So you're not reinventing the wheel every time. Every day you're doing more business. Every day your business is going through operations. You're getting tighter and tighter and more efficient by using these tools. And that, I think, is a great way to stay super organized and really get things done in a much better, faster, and more efficient and productive way. If you have any questions or comments, share them with me on leverageshow.com. And until next time, make it happen.